Shalom. I want to begin first and foremost giving all praises to the Heavenly Father Yahweh and His only begotten Son Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jehovah and Jesus. Yahweh being the name of the Father, meaning He exists. Yahweh Shai being the name of the only begotten Son, meaning He delivers. I want to give all praises in the ancient Paleo Hebrew tongue while facing the east. Call halal, la, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, the water, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rokah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, to the elders of Yasharala, Greatmillstone. Shalom to the 144,000. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, who are the descendants of the slaves, who are the so-called African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans. My name is Micah Allah, and today I want to talk about these heathens' hypocrisy when it comes to the suffering of Israel. All right, Isaiah 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hidden prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, Restore. All right, there has been no other race, right, so-called race, there's been no other nation on the earth. All right, and when I say nation, I'm not talking about a country, I'm talking about a group of people. All right, because in every country in the world you have different so-called races, but really these are different nations. All right, and every nation has a biblical identity. All right, but so-called African Americans, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans. All right, this is the nation of Israel, and no other nation has suffered like we have. All right, among all the other nations in the world. And really, it's our own fault because, Yahweh Bashim Shai is punishing us for, committing idolatry mainly. All right, going against his laws. All right, but these heathens, all right, they furthered the affliction. Our world won't forget Tiananmen Square. U.S. and Taiwan say on 36th anniversary of a massacre. Date of 4 June remains one of China's strictest taboos, with government using increasingly sophisticated tools to censor its discussion. All right, and says there is no official death toll, but activists believe hundreds, possibly thousands, were killed by China's People's Liberation Army in the streets around Tiananmen Square, Beijing's Central Plaza on the 4th of June, 1989. Today we commemorate the bravery of the Chinese people who were killed as they tried to exercise their fundamental freedoms, as well as those who continue to suffer persecution as they seek accountability and justice for the events of June 4, 1989, said Marco Rubio, the U.S. top diplomat, in a statement. All right, and today is the anniversary of that, so they're bringing it up. All right, and they bring this up every year. All right, they make sure nobody forgets. All right, and no, they want to make sure that nobody forgets Moab. Killing Moab. All right, and like I said, every nation in the world, every so-called race in the world has a biblical nationality, and the so-called Chinese race, their biblical nationality is Moab. All right, and majority of them are heathens. I say majority because you do have some among them that are actually of different nationalities, including Israel. All right, but And that's because Israel is scattered to the four corners of the earth. So, Israel is actually hidden among all the nations. All right, but this is Moab on Moab violence. And I want to make sure nobody ever forgets this. All right, every year, June 4th, you got to remember that Tenement Square massacre. All right, every year, January 27th, all right, International Day of Commemoration in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. All right, the Jewish people, they want to make sure nobody ever forgets that. I'm not going to give my opinions on that event. My my my, my what I really believe about it, because you know how Esau get down. All right, with the censorship. But these people, they want to make sure nobody ever forgets this. All right, and they even got the country of Germany. All right, the citizens of the country of Germany, making sure they never forget. All right, they got to pay reparations, almost like in perpetuity. Psalms 73 verse 8. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. All right, so when it comes to the suffering of the nation of Israel, they want to sweep that under the rug. They don't care. All right, they don't want anybody to know about it. But when it comes to their own suffering, man, the whole world got to know. All right, their tongue walketh through the earth. The whole world has to know about it. All right, make sure nobody forgets. I asked Google how many Native Americans died when the British came. They said it's estimated that the Native American population in the Americas declined by 90 to 95% from 1491 to 1691, a loss of roughly 130 million people. This decline is attributed to a combination of factors including old world diseases, forced displacement and slavery, conflict and warfare, and cultural destruction. 130 million people just wiped out. All right, in 1491, that's around the time Christopher Columbus began. All right, began his voyage. All right, so what about so-called Native Americans? Where's the remembrance for their suffering and all those millions that were wiped out? All right, because 130 million, that's not a number to scoff at, man. All right, that makes a lot of other massacres pale in comparison. And you got here International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade. All right, it shows you this map here because Israel, around 70 AD, when the Roman Empire came to conquer Jerusalem, Israel scattered everywhere. All right, and that was the southern kingdom that was left. All right, and our ancestors they came into Africa, man. All right, mostly in the Western Africa, this region. All right, and then they knew that, so they came and got us, got our ancestors, and put us in slavery. All right, in the Americas, right alongside the Northern Kingdom, which are the so-called Native Americans, which were already here from the time of the Assyrian captivity. All right, it says here, since then, every year on 25th of March, the International Day of Remembrance for the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade. All right, he says for over 400 years, all right, just like in Egypt, all right, Egypt was 430 years. All right, more than 15 million men, women, and children were the victims of the tragic transatlantic slave trade, one of the darkest chapters in human history. All right, hey, and 25th of March, man, that day came and went, and then I don't even remember anything. All right, now I ain't hear so much as a peep about this day, because when it comes to the suffering of Israel, man, all right, the heathens, they want to sweep it under the rug. They want to make it. They want to put their heads in the sand like an ostrich. All right, they just want to make it seem like nothing ever happened. Oh, it wasn't a big deal. Get over it. Pull yourselves up by the bootstraps. That's what they say. And meanwhile, they got generational wealth, and they like to tell Jake, pull yourself up by the generational wealth generated through slavery. And they want to tell Jake, oh, no, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And then they wonder why Jake resorts to selling drugs, committing crimes, just to make some kind of money in this wicked ass racist system. Right, second Ezra 6 verse 57. And now, O Yahweh, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. All right, and that's what the Lord did, man, with slavery. He put us under these heathens. He put us under Esau, all right, mainly, and they've been above us ever since. All right, but the Lord is gonna reverse that. All right, he's gonna pull a Uno reverse card. All right, Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All right, the Lord is gonna put them in captivity. All right, it's gonna be their turn. All right, and that's gonna happen when Yahweh Shai comes back, man. All right, Revelation 13 verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, so they took us into captivity. They put us in slavery. So the Lord is going to put them in slavery. All right, the Lord is going to put them to the sword. All right, they're going to be under us, and we're going to be on top. All right, and that's all going to happen finally when Yahweh Bashim Shai, all right, sends his son Yahweh Shai, all right, to establish the kingdom of heaven with all of his saints. All right, and Lord willing, I'm included in that number. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. I hope the video is edifying. Shalom.